Winston Salem, that mid-sized North Carolina city? Yep, and we've lived here for almost 5 years now. Moved from the Boston area. Big shift, right? But here's the thing, it works for us. People ask me all the time what it's really like. The good, the bad, and the unexpected. So let's break it down. Pros and cons. The truth, no sugarcoating. And trust me, some things have changed. This is my updated list from 2023. And if you want to compare, here's the link to my 2023 pros and cons video. Do you like restaurants? Way better. But the airport still needs improvement. So if you're thinking about moving here or just curious, this video is for you. So stick around. And hey, if you're new here, welcome. I'm Kristen, a retired teacher turned realtor, helping people relocate to North Carolina every day. If you want to know more about living here, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my next video. One of the things I love about Winston-Salem is that there's always something going on. Whether you're into history, arts, outdoor, adventures, or live music, this city has you covered. So let's start with Reynaldo House, one of Winston-Salem's most unique attractions. It's a historic estate that was originally the home of tobacco magnate R.J. Reynolds and has been turned into a museum of American art. Walking through, you'll see artwork from some of the country's most famous artists, beautifully preserved period rooms, and stunning gardens. Even if you're not a huge art buff, it's worth visiting just for the architecture and history. Next is the Innovation Quarter. It's a completely different vibe from Reynaldo. This area is a tech and research hub, but it's also an awesome place to hang out. You'll find cutting-edge medical and biotech companies, cool co-working spaces, and some of the best restaurants and breweries in the city, such as the Incendiary Brewery, Sushi Rosé, and 600 Degrees. And I must say those restaurants are two of our favorite restaurants at the moment. Bailey Park, which is right in the middle of it all, regularly hosts outdoor movie nights, live music, and food truck events in the warmer months. It's like the perfect blend of business, entertainment, and community. Winston-Salem really shines when it comes to local events. Some of my favorites include the River Run International Film Festival, which is a huge event that brings filmmakers and movie lovers together for independent films, documentaries, and Q&As. The International Black Theater Festival. This is a massive event that brings artists from all over the country. It's a week-long celebration of Black theater, culture, and creativity. The Gears and Guitars Festival, a mix of cycling and live music. It's basically the Woodstock of cycling, with big-name concerts at night. Summer on 4th, a free weekly concert series in downtown Winston-Salem featuring all kinds of music from jazz to rock. And this year, the Old Crow Medicine Show is headlining Summerlark 2025, which is an annual benefit concert to support the cancer patient program. And another thing we love to do is visit all the wine vineyards in the area. Winston-Salem is in the heart of Yadkin Valley wine country. There are several dozen wineries within an hour's drive, and each one has its own unique charm. A few standouts include Childress Vineyards, owned by NASCAR legend Richard Childress. This place has great wine and a beautiful estate. Ruffaldini Vineyards, which is an Italian-style vineyard with breathtaking views and some of the best red wines in the region. Jolo Winery and Vineyards, which is a stunning spot with great wine and an amazing restaurant overlooking Pilot Mountain. Unfortunately for me, I can't drink California wines. They have always given me a headache. Therefore, the only wine I could drink was wine from Europe or South America. But after moving here, I decided to give the North Carolina wines a try, and they have really surprised me. They are top-notch in my book. The wines are local, taste great, there's plenty of variety, and no headaches. Yay! If you are already living here, comment below with what your favorite thing is to do in the area. Like many small cities in the US, Winston-Salem is still a car city. The bus system exists, but it isn't robust. Rideshare is an option, but it's limited. For trains, the Carolinian, which runs between New York City and Charlotte, or other passenger trains just don't stop in Winston-Salem. But there are several Amtrak stations within a 45-minute drive, including Greensboro, High Point, and Salisbury. So if you're moving here and wondering about getting around, I can help you figure out the best neighborhoods based on your lifestyle, commute, or the lack thereof. Call, text, or email, or scan the QR code and book a private consultation with me. One of the biggest perks of living in Winston-Salem is the weather. If you're coming from a place with harsh winters, like up north, you'll probably find the climate here to be a perfect balance. We get to experience all 4 seasons, but none of them are extreme. If you're from up north, like I was in the Boston area, you'll appreciate that winters here are so much easier to handle. Sure, we get the occasional snow, but it's usually just a light dusting or a couple of inches that melts quickly. No endless shoveling and no digging your car out of a snowbank every morning. The average winter highs are typically in the mid 40s to low 50s. and the average lows are around the upper 20s to low 30s. Snowfall, well, maybe a couple of snow days a year, but nothing crazy. And I remember my first winter here, it was all over the news that we were getting snow, the grocery store was packed with people buying their milk and bread, and it hadn't even snowed yet, and they had already canceled school for the next day. And we woke up to about 2 inches of snow, and by the afternoon it had completely melted. I couldn't believe it. But here they don't have the equipment like we have up north to deal with it. So it's kind of nice having sort of a planned day off every now and then. And since this is our second time living in the Carolinas, we knew we didn't need to bring our snowblower with us when we moved here. Springtime in Winston-Salem is stunning. Everything starts blooming. The dogwoods, cherry blossoms, and azaleas make the city look like a postcard. Temperatures are perfect for being outdoors, usually in the 60s and 70s. The only downside? The pollen. If you have allergies, just be prepared. It can get intense for some people. Your car might turn yellow from the pollen dust, and you'll definitely want to stock up on allergy meds. Summers here are very warm, but they're nowhere near as brutal as places like Florida or Texas. Highs are usually in the upper 80s and sometimes hitting the low 90s, but it's cool at night. We do get some humidity, but it's nothing like the sticky, unbearable long summers you'll find in other parts of the South. And the best part? There are plenty of ways to beat the heat, whether it's heading up to the Blue Ridge Mountains for cooler temps, spending a day at Salem Lake, or grabbing a drink at one of the many local wineries or breweries. There's always a way to stay comfortable. And fall in Winston-Salem is absolutely beautiful. We get those crisp mornings, warm afternoons, and cool evenings. It's the kind of weather where you can wear a light sweater and jeans and feel perfectly comfortable. The leaves change into gorgeous reds, oranges, and yellows, especially if you take a short drive to the Blue Ridge Parkway or Pilot Mountain. The peak foliage season is usually mid to late October, and the average temperature is between like 60 and 70 during the day and in the 40s and 50s at night. One of our favorite things to do in the fall is drive to Boone or Banner Elk, which is the Blue Ridge Mountain area, and just take in the views. In October 2023, when we visited there, it honestly felt like we were walking through a painting. Just miles of bright red and orange trees as far as you could see. And the terrain here looks so much like New England, another reason we have chosen to live here. Growth is happening, but some industries are still limited. Healthcare, education, and manufacturing are strong. Remote work? No problem at all. This is a question I get asked a lot about, is the internet connection. We have lightning fast internet, and at least that's what my husband tells me being in IT, but some areas are definitely spotty. A friend of mine moved here expecting to find a university level teaching job right away, and she ended up working remotely for a company still based in New York. Now, she loves the lifestyle here, but gets that big city paycheck. As they say, everything happens for a reason, right? Housing is still a steal compared to other areas in North Carolina, such as Charlotte and Raleigh. The cost of living is below the national average, according to U.S. News and World Report, so home ownership is attainable. And at the moment, there's a lot of new construction options, and many of the builders have some pretty awesome incentives. Like this model home I'm standing in right now. It's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house being offered at $525. And for more information about this house, click here to see the video. A client of mine moved here from California last year and was shocked at how much house she could get here. She kept asking, is this really the price? She was ecstatic that she couldn't wait to get to the design center and pick out all of her finishes for her new construction house. I'll never forget that smile on her face. It was really emotional for both of us. So if you're curious about what's on the market right now, I'd love to help you find your perfect home. Call, text, email, or scan the QR code to schedule a private consultation with me. Also, all my contact information is pinned in the first comment below. If you have allergies, just know that Winston-Salem's pollen season can be intense. Spring is the worst, with oak, pine, and dogwood trees coating everything in a yellow-green dust. Cars, sidewalks, even outdoor furniture, nothing can escape it. Common symptoms include sneezing fits, itchy eyes, sinus pressure, and congestion. But it's just not spring. Ragweed in the fall and grass pollen in the summer can also cause issues. The good news? There's always ways to manage it. Many who have lived here for a while, or maybe all of their lives, keep their windows closed, use air purifiers, and change HVAC filters often. Some even say eating local honey helps build immunity. If you struggle with allergies, be prepared. This is something you'll notice living here for a while. Anyone watching with allergies, drop a comment below and let us know, because springtime here is no joke. One of the biggest advantages of living in Winston-Salem is its prime location on the East Coast. You get the benefits of being close to major cities and attractions without the high cost of living or heavy traffic that comes with actually living in them. Winston-Salem is positioned in a way that makes travel incredibly convenient. Whether you're taking a road trip or catching a flight, you're within a day's drive of some of the biggest destinations on the East Coast. Charlotte and Raleigh, North Carolina are about an hour and a half away. Atlanta and Washington, D.C. are about 5 hours. Charleston, South Carolina, 4 hours, and New York City, a little over 8. So if you ever want a weekend away to the beach, the mountains, or a major city, Winston-Salem makes it easy. One of the best things about North Carolina is how geographically diverse it is. Living in Winston-Salem puts you right in the middle, giving you easy access to both. The North Carolina coast, including Wilmington and the Outer Banks, is about 3.5 hours to 4 hours away. Perfect for a weekend by the ocean. The Blue Ridge Mountains and the Smokies are just 1.5 to 2 hours away, offering hiking, scenic drives, and winter sports. Places like Asheville, Boone, and Blowing Rock are easy day trips. And then there's also convenient airport options. While Winston-Salem doesn't have a major airport, we have great options nearby. Piedmont Triad International Airport is about 30 minutes away with flights to most major hubs. Charlotte, Douglas, and Raleigh-Durham are about an hour and a half away with the direct flights all over the country, which is great for business and remote work. If you work remotely or travel frequently, being in Winston-Salem means you can easily reach major business hubs like Charlotte, Raleigh, and Atlanta. And with fast internet and a growing economy, it's a great home base for professionals who want a balance of affordability and connectivity. So whether you're looking for quick weekend trips, easy flights, or just the flexibility to explore without the hassle of a big metro area, Winston-Salem's location is a huge perk. That all being said, a con of living here is the construction pains Winston-Salem is experiencing. And while that's exciting, it also comes with some growing pains, especially when it comes to construction and infrastructure. If you've been here for a few years, you've probably noticed more road work, new developments, and a changing skyline. While Winston-Salem isn't known for bad traffic, certain areas are seeing more congestion because of construction projects and population growth. I-40 and Business 40 are constantly being worked on, and some intersections like Haynes Mall Boulevard are busier than ever. When I first moved here, getting from one side of town to the other was a breeze. And now there are days when I hit multiple construction zones and or congestion in a single trip. The other day I had to reroute twice just to avoid lane closures. So if you're new to town, just know your GPS might be your new best friend. The housing market is booming here, which is great for new home buyers, but it also means more neighborhoods under construction and some frustration with delays to demand and sometimes the weather. So if you are building a new home, be prepared for possible wait times. At the moment, March 2025, my builders agents have said that it's about 7 to 11 months to get a home built. I'm going to be working on a new updated video, pros and cons of new construction. So be sure to subscribe to my channel so the next time I drop that video, you get a notification about it. New retail and mixed-use developments are also popping up, which is exciting, but it can mean noise, detours, and longer wait times at some of your favorite local spots. A lot of people love Winston-Salem for its charm, affordability, and slower pace of life compared to bigger cities. But as it grows, there's always that question: how do we keep that small town feel while making room for new businesses, new neighborhoods, and new people moving in? Growth is a good thing, but if you've been here for a while, you'll definitely notice the changes. One of the things that truly sets Winston-Salem apart is the people. If you're moving here from a bigger city, you might be surprised with just how genuinely warm and welcome folks are. There's a perfect balance here. You get that classic Southern hospitality, but without it feeling over the top. People wave when you pass by, neighbors introduce themselves, and if you ever need help, whether it's directions, a restaurant rack, or even a jump start for your car, someone will step up. When we first moved here from Boston nearly 5 years ago, I took my dog Alex to Tanglewood Park. Alex had just turned 12 years old and started having symptoms of arthritis. We were probably about a half mile from the car when he started limping pretty badly and it was starting to get dark. I wasn't sure if we were going to make it back to the car. He weighed about 50 pounds, so there was no way I could carry him. Another person at the park saw my dilemma and offered to help without me even needing to ask. It was so wonderful knowing that someone was willing to lend me a hand and not just be ignored. I felt so grateful. It is also normal for people to wave and say hello all the time here, whereas in other areas of the US, that's an abnormal thing. And they think there is something wrong with you if you wave to them. Winston-Salem is big enough to have diversity and opportunity, but small enough to feel connected. You see it in the way people support local businesses, come together for festivals and fundraisers, and rally behind neighbors in need. Whether you're into the arts, outdoor activities, or community service, there are so many ways to get involved and meet like-minded people. From small business networking events to volunteer groups and farmers markets, Winston-Salem has a strong community vibe that makes it easy to feel at home. A big plus is that you don't have to be from here to feel like you belong. Many people in Winston-Salem have relocated from other states, so even if you're new, you're far from alone. People are happy to share their favorite spots, invite you to local events, and help you get settled. So if you're looking for a place where neighbors still say hello, small talk is a way of life, and community really matters, Winston-Salem delivers. If you're moving here and wondering where to start making connections, let me know. I've helped so many people find not just a house, but a community to help them feel truly at home, and this is where they belong. One downside to living in Winston-Salem is that our local airport, Piedmont Triad International, or GSO, is still pretty limited in terms of flights and destinations. While it's convenient and easy to navigate, you won't find as many direct flights as you would in larger airports. GSO primarily serves regional and connecting flights, meaning that for most long-distance travel, you'll likely have to connect through Charlotte, Atlanta, or DC. This can add extra time and hassle to your trip. While airlines like American, Delta, and United operate out of GSO, you won't find budget carriers like Southwest or JetBlue offering nonstop service to destinations just yet. When I first came down here house hunting, I had a layover in Washington, DC that was only supposed to be 45 minutes that turned into 4 hours. I ended up not getting into Greensboro area until about 4 a.m, and I was really cranky and exhausted the next day. So based on my experience, if there's not a direct flight from PTI or Boston or to Boston, then I'm willing to make the drive to Charlotte or Raleigh in order to take a direct flight. But that's just me. So just to reiterate, if you need more flight options, you'll probably end up driving to Charlotte Douglas or Raleigh, which are both about an hour and a half away, with a huge selection of direct flights, both domestic and international. While these airports offer better choices, it does mean added time for driving, parking, security, so it's just something to consider. For professionals who fly frequently, the lack of direct flights can be frustrating, and if you're planning an international trip, you almost always have to connect through a larger hub before heading overseas. So while Winston-Salem is well located for road trips and regional travel, flying out may require a little extra planning. So that's my updated list of pros and cons for Winston-Salem in 2025. A lot has stayed the same, but some things have definitely improved and some new challenges have popped up. Have any of these pros or cons surprised you? Drop a comment below and let me know which one stands out the most. If you found this video helpful, can you do me a favor? Please hit that like button. It helps more people see this video. And if you're thinking about moving here, let's chat. I help people relocate to Winston-Salem all the time, and I'd love to be your go-to resource. Check out the links in the first pinned comment below to connect with me. And until the next video, I'll catch you later.